Hello and welcome to this series of instructional videos on EcoSim Building Designer V8i. In this session, we're looking at clash detection and the finer points of coordination. So with that, let's get going and set up our building information model for any clash detection. The first thing we want to be able to do is to attach another file to which we can run against to form our clash detection. And in this case, we're going to take one of our project team members' building information models, especially that of the mechanical engineer. And to do that, we're going to come across here to our Project Explorer. We're going to come down here to Building Models. We're going to twirl down Design Models, and then we're going to select the M Office underbar mech and just drag and drop that into our view. In our attached source files, we're going to click on the attachment method and choose Coincident, and then click OK. And you can see that the mechanical building information model has now attached itself to our architectural building designer model. In our task-based interface, what we're going to do next is come down to the coordination tab here and click on it. Once that opens, you can see it's got three options in it. The first one is clash detection. Let's click on that. The clash detection dialog box opens and it has a number of components. The first one that we need is this icon here called create a new job. And in this job, we're actually going to call this mech and arc, mechanical architecture, and hit the enter key. And now everything else lights up for us, enabling us to choose and to utilize it as we so need. What we're going to do here is come down to our references tab in our next section across, and you can see every single model that makes up our building information model that we're seeing in our views. We want to select our A underbar office int and drag and drop that into set A. And you can see that it takes on the color of set A, a sort of a reddish salmon-y color. And then we want to contrast that with our mechanical file, which is here at the bottom, and we're just going to drag and drop that into set B. And there you have the two contrasting sets that we're going to compare against each other. And what we can do now is simply click Process. We're presented with 87 clashes that clash detection has found, and all of these are under a certain type called hard clashes. These are actually where elements actually impact on each other. There can be another type, that's soft clashes, where you have to have a certain clearance and two objects violate that clearance. So you can have two different types of clashes within Building Designer's clash detection. Now we have 87 clashes here, and we may want to actually filter those out for a particular type of clash that we're looking for in particular. To do that though, we can easily do that inside of clash detection, because what we're going to do now is click on create a new job, and we're going to call this job ceiling duct and hit our enter key. And in our ceiling duct, instead of going to our references and choosing a whole file to compare against, what we're going to do here is we're going to click on the one above it, levels. You can see here that we have the full scope of our project electronic data standard available to us, and there's a lot to choose from. But we want to sort of parse this down and choose just an area that we want to be looking at. And the area is, of course, ceilings. So we're going to highlight the first ceiling level. We're going to scroll down until we come to the bottom one. We're going to press our shift key and just click that one. Now with all the ceiling levels checked, we can just drag and drop them into set A. You can see aspects of the model now lighting up with the color. And now we're going to choose the mechanical. And there's a great way also, efficiency gain, to choose this too. Because instead of scrolling down and choosing each mechanical level that we want, we can use this little jump box here, a filter. Click on that, and we can come down here to some preset filters that have been placed in our model for us in our project, and we're going to choose duct. With that, we're now going to click the first one, scroll down all the way to the bottom and shift click the last and drag and drop that into set B. And now you can see quite clearly we're getting a very much dedicated set of parts of our model to actually compare against and produce our clashes. So when we do that, we can now come through and click Process. And boom, once again, clash detection goes away and starts bringing us back. And this time we have a much reduced list. We have 17 clashes. So let's have a look at this post-processing clash detection report. Here on the right-hand side is a list of all of the attributes involved with each object that clashes. And you can see that as we click on each clash, Clash Detection and Building Designer zoom into the particular clash and highlight it for us. We can even come in here, let's say back to Clash 1, and click on the status of it, and you can see it's a new one at this moment in time, and we can say we accept this one because this is a series of stacks that are coming out of the bathrooms that we know about and we accept. So all we have to do is double click on that and say accept. We're going to click on the next clash arrow here and come to Clash 3. We can also say we can accept that one too. And now what we're going to do is click on clashes as we come through. We're going to click particularly on this one, Clash 5, because as you can see from both our isometric and our elevation below the clash detection dialog box, the ceiling physically clashes with our ductwork. Again, if we look at that, you can see this in these three clashes. The ceiling is too high, and so therefore what we can do is one of two things. One is that we can be more efficient even inside clash detection, because what we can do now is that we can click and select Clash 5, hold down the Control key and select 6 and 7 that belong to the same clash. We can right click and we can say create a group of clashes from this selection. And when we do that, Building Designer straight away goes and forms a group for us, and if we look at that, we see those three clashes. And this very much simplifies the ability to look at previous clashes or ones that are going to go through the genesis of our project. Now we're going to cure this. We're going to actually correct this problem because we're going to come into here. We're going to pass our cursor over the ceiling. We're going to say move. And we're going to press S on our AccuDraw compass to rotate sideways. We're going to move the AccuDraw compass in a downwards direction, then type in 1.0 to drop this ceiling 1 foot. Watch both the isometric and the elevation play now. All we need to do is click once on our mouse and you can see right click to reset, and we have dropped the ceiling down 1 foot, therefore giving enough clearance room for the ductwork and the acoustic ceiling that's there in the first place. Let's look at Clash 8 for instance. And you can see here that we have the end cap of the ductwork that is actually clashing with the extruded ceiling tile grid that we made in a previous exercise. Let's scroll through a couple more of these and you can see that they relate also to those various clashes and that run of ductwork also. So what we'll do here is actually come to say Clash 14, which also pertains to this, and we're going to actually group these clashes in another way that gives you that higher level of efficiency. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to right click just on Clash 14. We're going to say create a group, and we're going to say create a group from clashes on the blue element or element B. A new group is created, and this group, if we click on it and have a look at it, it pertains only to that run of ductwork and the elements that are clashing with it. A great way to improve your efficiency. We're going to leave Clash 13 here, the one with the end cap, because we probably believe our mechanical design probably has more knowledge about how to correct this clash in particular than perhaps any of the others. So with all of these groups and these clashes being looked at, accepted, and the status changed, everything like that, what we're going to do is going to highlight ceiling duct once more, and we're going to say process. Building Designer goes away, boom, comes back straight away. However, there's a change, because if you look at the status, you see that group 1 has been resolved. Clash 2, 1, 2, and 3 have been accepted, while the rest are called old. This means that while the first one in group 1 has been changed and corrected, the other Clash 1, 2, and 3 have been accepted. Clash 4, 8, 9, and 13 have, from a different point in time, not been touched as of this moment in time. So we can map how the changes are being resolved through our project's lifetime. And we can go one step further by saving this job so that we can utilize it further and further into the whole project instead of having to recreate it all of the time. And now we've done clashes, some very basic clash detection. Let's move on to something that's equally as important, the coordination. And what we're going to do here is we're going to come back to create a new job, and we're going to call this job Rated Walls Duct, because we're going to look at the rated walls, fire rating walls, compared to the ductwork that punches through, because we're going to have to put in some dampers to make sure they adhere to the fire code. We're going to select, for this particular clash detection and coordination, what we're going to do is we're not going to be using, to begin with, our criteria in clash detection. We're actually going to go up to our primary toolbar to this icon here called Items. The Items dialog box opens, and this is a phenomenally powerful little utility. It lists, like a library, every single object that has been included in your project files to begin with. What we want to do is that we want to click on the last icon here called Search. The Search dialog box opens, and we're going to come to here, this one here called Search For, and we're going to click on this jump box, because what we want to do is scroll all the way almost to the bottom and select Wall. But then we don't just want every single wall. Under the Where field here, we're going to choose what type of wall we want, or the type of value. In this case, we're looking for the fire rating in hours. And we want that to be equal to, the first one anyway, to be equal to 1 hour. And then after that, click Add to Search. And then come back to the beginning of this Where field and click on it again and come down to fire rating equal to, in this case, we put 2 hour file rating. And we click Add to Search again. We've now currently finished with this little search, but we need one more specific change. If you see down here in the search summary, there's an and here. Click on the and change that to or. And before you leave this dialog box, just click on the Save. And now you have this new search query, which you can name and save, and then click OK. You can see now that we've added to our items a group here of searches called Wall Search Results. If we twirl down on that, you can see every single one of the 13 instances where they found walls in our model file. Let's go one step further, because now we're going to come up to our top of our items dialog box here to this icon called Isolate. We click on that, and you can see straight away it isolates all of the walls in our model file. We can actually fit the view here. Once we've done that, we can now click on this one called Select to create a selection set. Building Designer then highlights all of those particular walls, and we can come to our Utilities pull-down menu under Named Groups, and we can now say create a named group, and we're going to call this one Rated Walls, and hit the Enter key. With that, we're going to click on this icon here, Add Elements. We're going to click once in our file, and straight away we have 13 of these instances added to this named group. We can now close this down and our item browser down as well, because now we can make use of this in our clash detection for coordination, because we're going to move in from our Rated Walls duct. We're going to move into the right hand side under Named Groups. You can see that we have rated walls listed for us. We're going to drag and drop that into our set A. And then we're going to go back to our levels, and we're going to choose a duct again and just drag and drop those into set B. With that, we now are going to click on Process. Clash detection goes away, creates the results for us, and now we can cycle through these clashes, which are indeed coordinations for us based off the criteria that we specified, to show where we can have to place those dampeners to continue to rate with our walls of 1 or 2 hours. It's as simple as that. And so this has been clash detection and enhanced coordination in EcoSim Building Designer V8i. Thank you very much.